The envelope felt wrong in my hands. It was too light to contain the wrecking ball it held inside. My name, Evan, was typed on the front in the formal font Leo's new secretary used. The paper inside was crisp, a stark white against my permanently stained fingernails, etched with the grime of 12 years of loyalty. "Just need you to sign the bottom, Evan." Standard stuff. Leo stood in the doorway of his glass-walled office, a space I'd helped build, literally, putting up the drywall one weekend after the old one got damaged in a flood. He was leaning against the frame, arms crossed over a polo shirt embroidered with the Leo's Auto and Custom logo, a logo I'd sketched on a greasy napkin during a lunch break a lifetime ago. I didn't open it immediately. I let the moment hang in the air, thick with the familiar symphony of our trade. The hiss of the air compressor, the rhythmic whir of an impact wrench, the classic rock humming from the old radio on the shelf. This shop was my second home. More than that, it was my creation. When I started, Leo was a decent salesman with a shoddy reputation and 2 ramps. I was the kid with a preternatural gift for listening to an engine's heartbeat and diagnosing its sickness. Together, we'd built an empire. Or so I'd thought. "Something wrong?" Leo prompted, a flicker of impatience in his voice. I slid my thumb under the flap and pulled out the single sheet. The words swam before my eyes, my brain refusing to process them. Then they snapped into brutal, unforgiving focus. "Notice of compensation adjustment. Effective immediately, your base salary will be reduced by 20%. 20%. It wasn't a number. It was an eviction notice from the life I'd built. It was my daughter's ballet lessons. It was the extra payment on the mortgage we'd just taken out. It was a slap so hard my ears rang. "Leo," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "What is this?" He pushed off the doorframe and took a few steps into the bay, his hands held out in a placating gesture that felt anything but. "Evan, come on. You see the books. Well, you don't, but trust me. Times are tight. Inflation. Supplier costs are through the roof. This is just a temporary belt-tightening measure for everyone." The lie was so transparent it was insulting. "For everyone?" I asked, my eyes scanning the shop. Jimmy, the new kid, was mounting tires, whistling. Maria, our parts manager, was on the phone, laughing. There was no somber mood, no collective anxiety, just another Tuesday. "Okay, fine, not for everyone," Leo conceded, dropping the act. "But for the key personnel, the high earners. It's a strategic move to keep the business healthy. You're a team player, Evan. I knew I could count on you to understand." Team player. The words tasted like ash. I'd spent 12 Christmases here, fixing a customer's car so they could make it to their family, while my own family waited for me with cold dinner. I'd come in at 2 a.m. to jumpstart Leo's own BMW more times than I could count. I'd turned down 3 solid job offers from competitors over the years, the last one just 6 months ago, out of a stubborn, stupid sense of loyalty. I'd told Karen from Precision Tune, "I'm a Leo's Auto man, through and through." He wasn't counting on my loyalty anymore. He was betting on my fear. Betting that a man with a family, a mortgage, and a deep-rooted life in this town was too comfortable, too settled, too trapped to fight back. I looked from the paper to his face. His expression was a mix of smug expectation and thinly veiled anxiety. He needed me to roll over. He needed this to be easy. I carefully, deliberately folded the paper along its original creases and slid it back into the envelope. I placed it on the workbench next to a disassembled carburetor, a piece of machinery I understood, a puzzle I could solve. "Okay, Leo." The relief that washed over his face was immediate and profound. His shoulders slumped as the tension left them. "Great. I knew you were a reasonable man. This is just temporary. You'll see. We'll bounce back stronger than ever." He clapped me on the shoulder, a gesture that now felt invasive and patronizing, and retreated to his glass cage. I picked up a torque wrench, the cool, solid weight of it a comfort in my hand. I fitted it onto a bolt and began to turn, the satisfying click a tiny, measurable justice in a world that had just become unmoored. But my mind was no longer on the engine in front of me. It was racing, calculating, planning. The quiet snap I'd heard wasn't the torque wrench. It was something inside me, a fundamental strand of my being finally breaking under the weight of his disrespect. He saw a cost to be cut. I saw the final, unforgivable insult. That night, I sat in the silence of my own garage. This was my sanctuary, a place filled with my own projects. A '69 Camaro I was restoring for fun, shelves lined with tools I owned, not borrowed. The scent of high-octane fuel and clean motor oil was the perfume of my soul. But tonight, it smelled of betrayal. My phone sat on the workbench, a dark, shiny rectangle of potential. For years, it had been the conduit for Karen's periodic, polite poaching attempts. Karen, the owner of Precision Tune, Leo's most formidable and respected competitor. Her messages were always the same: professional, flattering, and persistent. "Evan, it's Karen. Just heard about the masterpiece you did on the Henderson Ferrari. Again, the offer stands. Think about it." "Hi, Evan. Karen. Hope you're well. We're expanding into European performance tuning. Your name came up first. Coffee sometime?" I'd always deleted them after a polite, non-committal text back. "Thanks, Karen. Happy where I am." It felt like a betrayal to even listen to them. Now, betrayal had a new definition. It was a 20% pay cut delivered without eye contact. I scrolled through my contacts, my thumb hovering over her name. My heart hammered against my ribs. This wasn't just a job change. This was a declaration of war. Taking this call would burn the bridge with Leo, a bridge I'd spent over a decade building, and douse the ashes in gasoline. I tapped the screen. It rang twice. "Evan?" Her voice was alert, even at 8 p.m. on a weekday. "This is a surprise. Everything okay?" "Not really, Karen," I said, the words feeling foreign. "That spot you've always mentioned, is it still open?" There was a pause on the other end, but it wasn't a hesitant pause. It was the silence of a chess master seeing a long-awaited move finally made. "For you, Evan, the spot was never just a spot. It was a placeholder. Meet me tomorrow at the Gridiron Cafe, 7 a.m. I have a proposition for you." The Gridiron Cafe was a diner that smelled of old coffee and bacon grease, a world away from the sleek, expensive bistros Leo frequented. Karen was already in a booth, 2 mugs of coffee steaming in front of her. She was a woman in her late 50s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing and hands that, I knew from rumor, weren't afraid of getting dirty. She didn't waste time on small talk. "Leo finally did it, didn't he? Pushed you too far." I blinked. "How did you know?" "Evan, please. The auto business in this town is a small, incestuous family. I heard he was circling the drain financially. Bad investments. That new boat of his didn't pay for itself. He only has one major asset he can leverage, or in his case, mistreat. You." She slid a manila folder across the table. "This isn't a job offer. It's a partnership proposal." I opened the folder. The first page was a business plan for a new, high-end division. Precision, Tune, and Performance. It focused on the kind of complex, custom work I lived for. Engine swaps, custom ECU tuning, restorations. "I handle the business, the marketing, the books," she said, her voice low and intense. "You handle the art, the vision, the technical genius. I'm offering you 40% equity, no salary cut, a share of the profits, a voice in the business." The numbers on the page were staggering. They made my old salary, even before the cut, look like pocket change. But it wasn't the money that stole the air from my lungs. It was the word partner. It was the trust, the respect. It was everything Leo had just stripped away, handed back to me on a platter. "He'll blacklist you," I said quietly. "He'll tell everyone you stole me." Karen smiled, a thin, predatory smile. "Let him try. The customers don't follow a logo, Evan. They follow you. Mike Sanders and his fleet of vintage Mustangs, they're yours. The entire regional Porsche club, they're yours. They call this shop, but they ask for you." I thought of Mike, of the countless others who'd handed me their keys with a look of absolute trust. She was right. I looked up from the proposal, meeting her steady gaze. When do we start? Giving Leo my 2 weeks' notice was a surreal experience. I did it first thing the next morning, before I could lose my nerve. I left the partnership agreement, unsigned, locked in the glove box of my truck. "Leo, can I have a word?" He was on the phone, laughing. He waved me in. "Hang on, Jerry, my head mechanic needs me." He covered the receiver. "What's up, Evan? Problem with the BMW transmission?" "No problem," I said, my voice steady. "I'm resigning. My last day will be 2 weeks from Friday." The change in his face was a slow-motion car crash. The smug satisfaction melted into confusion, then hardened into disbelief, and finally settled into a cold, sneering rage. He hung up the phone without saying goodbye. "You're what?" he hissed, leaning forward. "What is this? A negotiation?" "Because it's a bad tactic, Evan. The offer is the offer." "This isn't a negotiation, Leo. It's my resignation." He laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. "Your loss. You really think you can make it on your own? You're a mechanic, Evan. A damn good one, but that's all. You don't know the first thing about running a business. You'll be crawling back here in a month, begging for your old job back. And it won't be here. Nobody does what you do." The irony was so thick I could taste it. He knew my value, he just refused to pay for it. "I know," I said simply. I turned and walked out of his office, through the shop I loved, past the lifts and tools that felt like extensions of my own body. I didn't look back. The exodus began not with a bang, but with a series of quiet, digital pings. The first text came that same afternoon from Mike Sanders. "Heard a rumor you're leaving Leo's. Please tell me it's not true. My 67 Fastback is making a new noise, and I don't trust anyone else to listen." I took a deep breath and typed back, "It's true. My last day is the 15th. I'm starting a new performance division with Karen at Precision Tune." His response was immediate. "Karen's a smart woman. Send me the address. See you on the 16th. Then came a call from David, the president of the Lakeside Porsche Club. "Evan, Leo just sent a panicked email to the whole mailing list. Please tell me you're not leaving." "I am, David. Precision Tune and Performance." A long, low whistle. "Well, that's the ball game. We'll be moving our group discount. Is it true you'll be doing the twin-turbo installations for the 911s there?"